a very special personality, somebody with a lot of confidence, somebody maybe a little bit cocky, and you need to let this guy be that person. If I knew that, I'd be your coach. Yeah. I will claim that Harry Maguire is a fantastic player. So I would say Onana is equally as good as Ederson with the feet playing. If I knew that, I'd be your coach.
Yeah. Yep.
It's funny because over the last sort of 15 years, I've traveled a lot in the region, most of the countries, and I've been in these situations, and the same question comes up: what can we do? There must be a reason for, the lack of numbers of top class football players from Asia in places like the Premier League, and I don't know what it is, if it comes from prioritizing education before sports or lack of opportunities. Just take my own country as an example, because we asked the same questions in the 70s. What can we do? I mean, we never qualified for anything, and what we did was we employed a German coach with a very sort of strict way of doing things, and taking no nonsense, and not only for players but also upstairs, upstairs to the federation, to the politicians. Took no nonsense, just did it his way, and in 5 years he got us to a European Championship. So once we got there, we knew that we could do that. It's in the area where I'm growing up, and because I see this, I understand that it can be done. So I work even harder on trying to get to that, because now I have someone from my own country that I can look up to and get inspiration from. Whereas before, I had somebody from England, because that's the only football we had, English football. So I'm looking at a country that I don't belong to. Inspiration is always good. I know your FA chairman is come in and he's been there only a short period of time, but made a lot of good changes. And maybe it starts with him, that he comes up with a good idea, said this is what we're going to do, and then everybody follows suit. And not really. I think really, in all honesty, every country in the world is screaming for somebody to score goals. And if you think about world football, there aren't that many guys who scores a lot of goals. They are not there. They are the special types, Haaland, Ronaldo's and Messi's and Mbappe, all of these guys, yes. They are the very, very, very top end. But it's very rare that you see somebody, scoring a lot of goals. It's because, coaches are clever, tactically clever, defenders are clever. It is very, very difficult to score goals. It is. But you need a very special personality, somebody with a lot of confidence, somebody maybe a little bit cocky, and you need to let this guy be that person, instead of trying to mold him into something else. But yeah, if I knew that, I should be an agent, by the way. City is a very special team, and to win the treble as they did last season takes something very special. Not only do you have to be, a fantastic team, you also have to be a little bit lucky, and everything fell in the right direction for Man City. They played some extraordinary football with some extraordinary performances from individuals in the team. But the really important thing as far as Manchester United is concerned, when it comes to try to close that gap, is to match what they have. So if you start from the back, he's now matched in terms of playing wise with the goalkeeper. So I would say Onana is equally as good as Ederson with the feet playing. Of course, it's Manchester United. Can he do it at Manchester United? Can he? It's a lot of pressure, you know. Everybody's watching. A lot of people are watching Inter. A lot of people were watching Ajax, but everyone's watching Man United. So, what happens if he makes a mistake? Will that affect him? Is he strong enough to get through that? That's something we have to wait to see, and hopefully he won't make mistakes. In terms of how you continue to match your competition, I still think we need a centre half. That's a personal opinion I have. Midfield, yes, absolutely, we've matched them. For wingers, yes, I think we're with Garnacho, with Sancho and Anthony, and even having the option of Bruno playing in one of those positions, Rashford playing in the. Yes, absolutely matched them. And then it comes to Haaland, Hojlund. You know, have we matched them? I don't know. But I'm very optimistic for how it is and what we've done. I think Erik ten Hag's first season was very challenging. When he first came in, there's a lot of cleaning up to do, and he did that very well. Then, of course, the situation with Ronaldo. How do you deal with that? And I don't think he could have done any better than what he did. So he dealt with that situation. He dealt with the player. He also sent massive messages to the world, and especially to the dressing room, that he was suffering no fools. I'm the boss. I do this. And I think it had an immediate effect on how the team then performed for the rest of the season. So what we have is a man in charge, a proper manager in charge, and we know what direction he wants to take the club. We can see what kind of players he's looking at. So he's looking at what we call Manchester United players, very good players, strong players, but also exciting players that we can sit and watch. And even if we might lose a game, you know, we'll come back with something because we watched this guy play. So the history of Manchester United is incredible, because once you step through the door and you speak to people who've been following Manchester United for all of their life, they talk about, well, I was there when George Best did this, and that really means something to Manchester United supporters. The players, the style of players they have, the type of players. And he signed them, you know, they're there. I think Garnacho is someone we can really look forward to in the next couple of years. Everyone has to give instructions. Yeah. You know, it's so the newer generations are they're not so naturally born leaders. The newer generations have grown up with a lot of things been done for them. You know, it's I'm just saying, this is just reality. So once it comes to the top end of football, you're kind of screaming for leaders. And if you look across football at the moment, you don't see many sort of outright leaders. So you think, wow, these games. You look at the team that I played in, you couldn't see anybody not a leader. All of them were leaders. And that's kind of sift out of football a little bit. So to have somebody who speaks from the very, very back, it's important. Because he sees the whole picture. And I think it's important that directions are being given. Because the most important job for a goalkeeper is to prevent. So prevent a goal from happening, but prevent chances from happening. And you can do that by saying, hey, this guy's free, or you're too far up, you do that. And it's important he does that. And it's part of the reason he's at Manchester United, because he is a natural leader. Of course, his whole ability to play with his feet is very, very important to the style of play that Erik ten Hag wants to put into the team. So I mean, I followed him a lot, especially last season in the Champions League, and I was very impressed with him. I think he's done really, really well. But he's done really, really well with Ajax and Inter, not with Manchester United yet. So it's a big question mark, and I really hope that what we've seen, that he can do that for Manchester United. But he looks a very confident lad, so I don't see why not. Yeah, it's very, very sad. There are a lot of good things about social media. I think the whole idea from the beginning was that people were supposed to connect and be friends. Unfortunately, there are always a couple of idiots who ruins that. About Harry Maguire, I followed Harry Maguire when he was at Leicester. Harry Maguire is a fantastic player. I did my pro license badge just before the World Cup in Russia. And one of the assignments we had to do was to pick the England squad. This is like 6 months before the World Cup. Pick the England squad and pick the starting lineup against Tunisia. And of course I had Harry Maguire in there, and I had him in the starting lineup. And of the whole group there, I was the only one who had him in the squad. And I even had him in the starting lineup. And I said, this guy is fantastic. And there was a bit of and this is when he was at Leicester, by the way. We got to the World Cup, and Harry Maguire played every game and arguably was the best England player in the World Cup. And don't forget, they got knocked out in the semi-final, so they went a long way. He had a very, very bad summer holiday in Greece. He got arrested for something that he wasn't supposed to be arrested for. And he, probably the most unlucky time he could be in that situation, because the club at the time were not in any state to protect him. And he came straight in the team, made a couple of mistakes, and then everybody turned. I will claim that Harry Maguire is a fantastic player, and I would be very sad to see him leave, but it's got difficult for me to see him with a future there, because, as you say, social media. It doesn't take many to create an atmosphere. It takes 5 people to write some crap, and then that's people on social media. The media will then report. People on social media say this and that, and it's a bit sad, but it's also reality. It's reality, and players, they have to, as much as they use social media themselves for their advantage, they also have to deal with the other side of it. And I'm just so happy I played in a time where we didn't have social media. Haaland, who scored the most goals last season, was it 35, 36? 37, I think it was, yeah. Which is an incredible number, never done before. And of course, he's gone into his second season now. Second season, we talk about second season syndromes. Second season is always more difficult because everybody knows about you. And especially in a case with someone like Haaland, a lot of the managers, defenders, they would be thinking about how to deal with him. So obviously it's something that you're going to look for the season that comes. Is he going to be as good, or maybe even better? Don't know. It's Haaland, and he's really, really special. Personally, I'm quite interesting to see how our new signing, Hojlund, is doing. This is a young fella who, he's not like Haaland, but there are similarities in terms of, the pace and the strength, and also the mentality. He's a little bit younger, and he has unlimited potential, as far as I'm concerned. But one thing is to be a prospect, another thing is, of course, to go and do it for Manchester United. It's a lot of pressure, and hopefully he will be coached well. Hopefully he will be given time, and I think if those two things apply, I think Manchester United bought a very, very good striker and someone who could score a lot of goals. So, I mean, for me, they are the two that I would be looking at. Denmark's got a lot of great players, a lot of talent, and now, we got someone like Hojlund, being transferred to Manchester United for a massive amount of money. Something like that happens in a country like Denmark. It's gonna give youngsters in our country so much belief that it can be done. So we have a lot of players in our under 21s as well. I think the World Cup was a blip. I think Denmark will continue for many years to be, one of the best teams in the world. And I'm quite proud of our country at the moment.